Hey, this is Randy Smith, and you're watching Imagine Your Goddess.
Hey guys, Zash from Imagine Your Goddess. Here today doing another deck profile. It's going to be a kind of a slight revision of my PRISM deck profile that you've all already seen. This past weekend I went to the Chicago regionals for Qualifier Vanguard and I finished in 48th place out of like 330 some people. I think I did pretty well. The two matches that I lost to was Eternal Idol, which was very surprising. I didn't think I would lose to that matchup, but the player I was fighting had a lot of pretty good forethought in his deck and was able to get a lot of hand advantage over me. And sadly, the only time I could have won during that was during a 2-pass, which I did not get. Yeah, and that's that. And the match that actually knocked me out, it was in top 64 going into top 32, was versing Solo, and he is playing Narukami the Blood. And what's kind of funny is I had given him tips to change his deck to fight off Prisms because our meta is full of them now ever since I've been doing so well. And that ultimately became my downfall, as a lot of his tricks kind of destroyed me. But I didn't really expect to win that matchup. I think I did pretty well given the circumstances, but yeah. And it's just kind of, this is going to be repeating a lot of stuff that I've already said before in previous deck profiles, but I'll try to kind of highlight some of the things that I've learned playing the deck. Again, run Coral. The big thing that I changed in Solo's deck was to add in some Death Sice and Scytians, which target Coral pretty easily. And luckily, Solo didn't get to kill my Coral very early on. I'm not even sure if he actually did, but there was a lot of pressure that forced me to overguard a lot because of that. For trigger lineup, now this is kind of different from before. I run 12 crits now. I still recommend doing 4 draw, 4 crit, 4 heal, and then 4 whatever trigger you want for archetype decks, but with Prism I've been trying to kind of defeat other decks in the meta around me anyway, and I found that going 12 crit was very good against them, because not a lot of people here play Kagero or OTT, which I have to say now, I think that OTT, Kagero, and possibly Death Army wreck Prisms if you're running 12 critical, unless you can sack into the crits and get them early. That's kind of the plan with Prisms, is to end the game early now, and if I get to end game, then I have Labrador with permanent double crit essentially to help me back up. The bad part about running so many crits is that you don't get unexpected draws that maybe get you out of good situations or hard situations by giving you extra cards. It's hard to replace your field because you can't just depend on a draw to get you something, and you have less chances of a prism being in the damage zone. So those are my crit triggers. And then I run, of course, 4 heal. I could have went to 16 crit, but for some reason or another, 4 heal and 12 whatever is always better than 16 of one thing. I don't know what that is. Maybe someone can do the math on that, but the trigger lineup has been working very, very well for me. And though you could say it was my downfall in the Eternal Idol matchup in regionals, but I think that draws wouldn't have made much of a difference since his draw power is so great anyway. Then of course run 4 Mermaid Idol Ellie's Perfect Guard. She saved me quite a bunch of times over this weekend. Moving on, 4 of the 10k attackers. This is one of the strong points of Prism and archetypes in general, is to be able to rush. Like grade 1, you ride clear. Next turn you ride your 10k and then you put 2 of these down or something. With all the attackers you have at level 2 and grade 2 and these in grade 1, it's pretty easy to rush someone and I was grade locked for a turn, but thanks to me rushing, it didn't matter as much for one of the matches. Other than that, though, I really didn't experience any major grade locks. I saw a few people get grade locked at 0, which was surprising, and I was like glad that didn't happen to me. Of course, for clears, she's one of the really good cards in this deck that you put 4K on something and you can make a row hit for 21 pretty easily. But I mainly use her as a rear guard booster thing to boost up my rear guard columns with her effect. Then I run 2 Monas. Felucia is the better art option, of course, and you can of course run that 6K, whatever it's called, Labrador booster if you want more prisms. But Mona, what is really good about her in this build anyway, is that she's a 7K, so combined with any your level 2, except for your grade 2, except for your 10K, it lets you hit cross rides for 10K guard. And she's a good ride, 7K. I mean, you really don't have room for Sednas in here. So she's good for 7K. Though you could replace her with Sedna too if you wanted to. But her big thing is she's a counterblast 1 to return a prism to your hand that's other than her, and this is good because since I run the extra criticals, there are times where I don't have enough prisms in damage zone to counterblast, so I could do Labrador's ability, so I can just use her to counterblast and return something else. Then moving on to my grade 2s, I run 4 Ligerns. Thankfully, over this weekend, I think she was my main ride target. There was only one game where I didn't ride her, really, and I won that game by sheer luck. But she's the safe ride, she's what you want to ride, and in case your grade's stuck, you're on a 10K body at least. Then I run 4 Lumieres, 12K attacker. The one game I had trouble in, which I did win, was Events of Glory, and I rode her, and the guy had a Bazo and a whole bunch of other crap on the field, and I basically went from 0 to 5 damage in 1 turn because of that, which luckily I was able to recover by riding Labrador next turn. Then, of course, 3 Rosas, 11K attacker. People run Celtics, which I guess are cool. I don't see why you don't have a lot of soul to use her ability. And she's also 9K, and without boosters you really can't hit anything. So at least this, I can hit most of the meta without a booster, and I can't always depend on a booster. So if you can always draw your boosters, by all means, run whatever you want. But I think that being able to cut your dependencies on things, specific cards, is a pretty good idea. Then for Verts, I actually broke ride her a lot this weekend, which was pretty cool. She's like the only way to really plus, well, not really even plus, she breaks even, but hopefully draw an attacker with her and not a trigger. And she swings, of course, 18 pretty easily, which I didn't really need to have against anyway. I think the only crossride I fought was MLB, and that really wasn't that hard of a matchup, surprisingly. Then, of course, for Labrador, star of the deck, and she is pretty good by herself. She's what you want to ride, want to draw into. So yeah, this is kind of the deck I ran at Chicago. I've actually been running this variant of the build in locals for a couple months now, or not months, weeks, and it has been doing very well. It's won me quite a few tournaments, and I think it is one of the better builds, at least to counter my locals. You probably want to run draws in most every situation. I think it's only because we don't have a lot of draw-intensive decks that I run so many crits, though, because I don't really like to stack all these crits. But yeah, just kind of the thing here is if you're rushing somebody like Archetype Rush and you have criticals, that's the best type of triggers to run when you have the power of an Archetype Rush. And again, this has been Ash from Imagineyourgoddess, and thanks for watching. See you guys next time.